yeah, you can make notes of this if you like, and then if you record something that I say and then you spot something that relates to that as we're going around, then that would be cool. So they moved there in 1682, and it was the royal residence until the French Revolution. Does anyone know about the French Revolution?
Yeah.
Yeah? So, two people, can anyone tell me what happened? There was a guy. What did the guy do? Yes, the King and Queen of France were beheaded because there were so many poor people in France, and the royalty, the aristocracy taxed them to starvation, so they rebelled and overthrew the monarchy, which is why now France does not have a king or queen. So the famous Hall of Mirrors is inside the palace. This is relevant to the end of the First World War, because that is where the treaty that ended the war was signed. Does anyone know who the President of the United States was at the end of the First World War in 1919? No, not Abraham Lincoln. Any other guesses? Woodrow Wilson. Someone said Woodrow Wilson. Well done. So in this famous Hall of Mirrors, back when the palace was built, the only source of light was candles. And the smoke from these candles would damage the ornate walls and ceilings. There's lots of very, very intricate plaster work. It's really very beautiful. But it's because of this that the room is filled with mirrors, because the mirrors would reflect the light. So there wasn't as much need for as many candles. Having said that, there are still 1,000 candles in the chandeliers in this particular hall in the Palace of Versailles. The palace and gardens combined are 19,262 acres. Does anyone know how big an acre is? Because I don't.
I do.
No?
It's a plot of land. It's a lot of square feet.
But to put that into real terms, so this is the palace and the gardens at Versailles. In total, the site is larger than the island of Manhattan. So very, very big. So the wife of Louis the 14th, yep, just checking that, Louis the 14th was Marie Antoinette. Marie Antoinette famously was very ignorant of the plight of the starving peasants in France. And when someone came to her and told her that the people were all starving, that they didn't have any bread, does anyone know what she famously said? Let them eat cake. Indeed. Because she loved cake. She led quite a charmed life, actually. Yes, she was the Queen of France, but she sometimes liked to pretend that she wasn't the Queen of France, bizarrely. She would dress as a peasant and pretend to be a milkmaid or a shepherdess. There was a special part of the gardens of Versailles where she could pretend to be a shepherdess. Only she wasn't really a shepherdess. The sheep would be washed and bathed and perfumed before they were presented to her, and she used to walk them on lengths of ribbon around the gardens, and she'd dress up in a bonnet like a Little Bo Peep. Everyone knows Little Bo Peep, right? Yeah. But Marie Antoinette's bedroom is one of the largest in the private quarters of the palace. Does anyone have any idea of the reason why her bedroom was so big? Because she was fat? Nope, not because she had a big head. Any other ideas?
She's royal. She had a lot of stuff.
For her hair? Yes, she did have very big hair. She did have a lot of dresses, but none of these. This is her bed. Okay. I don't think anyone knows the answer, so I'll have to tell you. So, under French law at the time, the Queen of France was required to give birth publicly, which meant that her bedroom had to be big enough to fit in about 200 courtiers who would all stand around and watch her give birth. That was entertainment.